So let's start with the timeline of events here because it's really something to unpack. Back in July of 2024, Kimberly Temple and her biological father, Bradley McCollom, decided to get married at a courthouse. They filed their marriage license, stating they were no closer than second cousins. But, well, as authorities later discovered, a genetic test showed an 99.9% probability that they were actually father and daughter. Now, what's striking about this already bizarre case is that when they got married, Kimberly was still legally married to another man. It wasn't until February of this year, 2025, that everything unraveled and led to her arrest. The charges: attempted bigamy and providing false information on the marriage application. And her father, Bradley, by the way, allegedly falsified his address on those same documents. The bigamy laws here are pretty clear. You can't be married to one person and, go off and marry someone else. Especially not, your own father. It's so completely outside societal norms that it really makes you wonder about the psychological, or maybe I should say ethical, motivations at play here. How does something like this even happen? And then there's the legal side of it. Kimberly's prior marriage made her union with her father not just socially unacceptable, but also flat out illegal. And, of course, there are consequences for falsifying documents. It's a serious crime with real legal weight. This case raises, some really troubling questions about intent and accountability. Now, one of the key factors here, the one that frankly makes this story even more disturbing, is the financial motivation. Kimberly and Bradley reportedly tied the knot in part so Kimberly could collect her father's monthly $350 Veterans Affairs benefits. And, let's be honest, $350 a month isn't exactly a fortune, but it's still enough to raise some serious ethical and legal red flags. Imagine fabricating a relationship on that level just to access a benefit. And keep in mind, this isn't just about some minor misstep. This is organized deception. From what authorities uncovered, both Kimberly and Bradley actively lied on the marriage paperwork, claiming they were distant relatives instead of father and daughter. It's a combination of financial exploitation and fraud, right there on public records. And, of course, the story doesn't stop with just the money. Bradley McCollom has a lengthy criminal history, including multiple failures to register as a sex offender. That fact alone casts an even darker shadow over their relationship. You have to wonder, what kind of influence could he have wielded over Kimberly, especially given their history of estrangement and his time in federal prison? Then there's the legal angle. Kimberly now faces charges of attempted bigamy and falsification of official documents. Fraudulent marriage licenses are precisely the kind of thing that marriage laws are supposed to prevent, but this case highlights, an unsettling gap. What measures could have stopped this from happening in the first place? Because clearly the safeguards in place didn't work here. So let's take a step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture here, because this case, it's not just about the legalities or even the financial motives. Disturbing as those are, at its core, this is also a story about estrangement and, a toxic sort of reconnection. Bradley McCollom, Kimberly's father, spent years in and out of the legal system. In fact, during a significant period of estrangement, he was serving time in federal prison. And it wasn't just any sentence. This was a man with multiple charges for things like failing to register as a sex offender. That kind of background, I think, really sets the stage for questions about the nature of their reconnection once they came back into contact. Why would Kimberly reconnect with someone like him after years apart? Was there a genuine effort to rebuild a relationship? Or, and this is where it gets hard to parse out, was this a relationship rooted in manipulation or coercion? It's certainly possible that McCollom, with his, let's say, questionable history, had some sway in leading Kimberly toward this deeply troubling setup. But we can't discount Kimberly's agency in making these decisions, no matter how unethical they might seem to us. And really, when you think about it, this case touches on the way personal choices and societal norms can collide in the strangest and most uncomfortable ways. Familial relationships carry both emotional weight and societal expectations. And in cases like this, where the boundaries of those relationships are crossed so dramatically, the fallout is, understandably, shocking. It challenges the way we think about family as an institution, about loyalty, laws, and where we draw the line between acceptance and accountability. Ultimately, this story has an unsettling complexity that's hard to ignore. It's about two people whose choices defied both ethics and legality, and now they're facing the consequences of that. But it's also a reminder of the fragile, sometimes messy dynamics that can exist within families, and how those dynamics can lead to decisions that ripple far beyond just the individuals involved. And that's all for today. Thanks for listening, everyone. Sometimes the truth really is stranger than fiction, isn't it? Take care, and we'll see you next time.